Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland resident, found himself at the heart of an international controversy in March 2025. He was deported to El Salvador, his birth country, despite having a legal order protecting him from deportation. Garcia's case highlights the complex relationship between the United States and El Salvador, particularly under the presidencies of Donald Trump and Nayib Bukele. The deportation sparked outrage and raised serious questions about due process, human rights, and the rule of law. Garcia's journey to the United States began when he was a child. He fled El Salvador with his family, seeking asylum from the brutal gang violence that plagued their community. Growing up in Maryland, Garcia built a life for himself, unaware of the legal battle that awaited him. His deportation order stemmed from a 2019 accusation by a confidential informant, alleging his involvement with MS-13. Garcia's lawyers vehemently deny these charges, arguing that their client has no ties to the gang. The deportation order was put on hold due to an existing immigration court order. This order recognized the credible threat Garcia faced from gang violence in El Salvador. However, in a shocking turn of events, Garcia was deported in March 2025. The circumstances surrounding his deportation remain murky, raising concerns about potential due process violations. His case has become a flashpoint in the ongoing debate over immigration, gang violence, and U.S. foreign policy in Central America. The deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia is not just a personal tragedy, it is a symptom of a much larger problem. It exposes the human cost of flawed immigration policies, the Trump administration's hardline approach to immigration enforcement, and the increasingly complex relationship between the United States and El Salvador. Garcia's case serves as a stark reminder of the importance of due process, the rule of law, and the protection of human rights, even in the face of national security concerns. Nayib Bukele, the young and outspoken president of El Salvador, has become a key figure in the saga of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Bukele, known for his firm grip on power and his unconventional approach to governance, has refused to return Garcia to the U.S. His stance has further strained relations between the two countries, already tense over issues like immigration and human rights. Bukele's refusal is rooted in his characterization of Garcia as a terrorist. He has publicly labeled Garcia as a dangerous criminal, a member of the notorious MS-13 gang. This label, based on the unverified claims of a confidential informant, has been readily embraced by Bukele, playing into his narrative of a strongman leader cracking down on gang violence. However, critics see it as a convenient excuse to defy the U.S. and solidify his own power. Bukele has repeatedly stated that he lacks the authority to return Garcia to the U.S. He argues that Garcia is an El Salvadoran citizen, subject to El Salvadoran law, and therefore outside the jurisdiction of the U.S. government. This legalistic argument, however, fails to address the underlying issue of the U.S. court order that was in place to protect Garcia from deportation. Bukele's defiance of the U.S. in the Garcia case is not an isolated incident. It reflects a broader pattern of challenging traditional power dynamics and asserting El Salvador's autonomy. His actions, while popular with some segments of the Salvadoran population, have raised concerns about the erosion of democratic norms and the rule of law in the country. The international community watches closely, concerned about the potential for human rights violations and the implications for regional stability. The deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia and President Bukele's subsequent refusal to return him to the U.S. set the stage for a dramatic legal battle. This battle reached the highest court in the land, the U.S. Supreme Court, thrusting the case into the national spotlight. The court's involvement underscores the gravity of the situation and the potential ramifications for U.S.-El Salvador relations. The Supreme Court, in an unusual move, issued a direct call to the Trump administration. They urged the administration to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States. This call, while not a formal ruling on the case, carries significant weight and sends a clear message about the court's view of the situation. It suggests that the court sees merit in Garcia's claims and the potential violation of his rights. The court's intervention puts the Trump administration in a difficult position. It forces the administration to address the case directly and to navigate the complexities of international law, diplomatic relations, and domestic politics. The administration must now weigh its options carefully, considering the potential consequences of complying with the court's call versus continuing to support El Salvador's stance. The involvement of the Supreme Court adds a new layer of complexity to the already tangled case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. It highlights the high stakes involved, not just for Garcia himself, but for the U.S. legal system, U.S.-El Salvador relations, and the international community's perception of both countries' commitment to human rights and the rule of law. The world watches as the case unfolds, hoping for a resolution that upholds justice and ensures the safety of Kilmar Abrego Garcia.